budgeting for the times, what the Premier said in Saskatoon about the province's finances. Marking a difficult anniversary, Saskatoon gathers to honor Ukrainians impacted by the Russian invasion that began 4 years ago. And headed to Mexico, how Saskatchewan travelers are feeling as flights resumed amidst civil unrest.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. The provincial budget is expected to run in the red this spring. Premier Scott Moe revealed some highlights of the budget weeks before it's released. Keenan Sorokon on what taxpayers might be able to expect.
So you'll see a deficit in a couple of weeks in this province.
Scott Moe has hard truths about the upcoming provincial budget. Speaking at a North Saskatoon Business Association luncheon, he says there will be a deficit as the United States resets trade relationships with countries across the globe, and that will be felt here in Saskatchewan.
How do you want to deal with these revenue numbers that aren't where they should be? And we are going to make the choice to protect Saskatchewan services.
Moe says his government won't raise taxes to make up for the lost revenue. He says things like policing and safety, healthcare, and education will remain a priority, and used BC's recent budget, which projects more than a $13 billion deficit, as an example. He says Saskatchewans will be a lot less than the per capita comparison of about $3 billion, but wouldn't get into specifics.
You'll have to wait till budget day with respect to where next year's budget will be at.
Moe wouldn't say if the deficit would approach $1 billion, but if you combine the province's mid-year update of a $427 million deficit and the recent $650 million of special warrants or government-authorized spending whenever a legislature is not in session, then the deficit will surpass the $1 billion mark.
I don't trust this government's ability to bring a real budget forward or to deliver the full financial picture of the province.
Moe wouldn't say where cuts or clawbacks would happen, but pointed to technological advances like virtual care over the last few years, allowing people to see a doctor remotely as one way to save. Finance Minister Jim Ryder is expected to table the provincial budget on March 18th. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Today marks 4 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Here in Saskatoon, students at the University of Saskatchewan gathered to remember those affected and reflect on how the war continues to shape lives even from so far away. Carla Shankarek has more.
A few days later, everything changes.
This is Solomia Kulik, a U of S student who moved to Saskatoon from Ukraine in 2024. The changes she's talking about happened when Russia started attacks on Ukraine.
Today, here we are, it's 4th anniversary. I couldn't even imagine on the first days that it will take that long, and I don't know for how long it will be.
She joins others inside STM College at the U of S, where dozens mark the solemn 4th anniversary since the war started.
Commemorating 4 years of the war is really important. It shows that Ukraine is not alone in this war. They have everyone here in Canada supporting them and all over the world.
For some, this isn't just a moment of reflection, it's deeply personal.
4 years ago, I remember waking up at 5 in the morning to the sounds of bombing 2 blocks away from where I was living.
Nikita Soretta was studying in Ukraine when the war broke out. Eventually, he made it back home to Canada.
As Ukrainians here in the diaspora and for those that are still in Ukraine, this is our fight for resilience and our fight for the freedom of our beloved homeland, Ukraine.
Since the war started, interest in the Ukrainian Students Association has grown. They now have 80 members.
We have grown significantly, especially this year.
She says young people on campus want to add their voices and their support as the war continues. Support, Kulik says, means more than ever, as she believes Ukraine is receiving less attention in the headlines now, even though the realities on the ground haven't changed.
Ukrainian people are still under attacks, and Russia is still killing people.
She says she worries every day about her family and friends still living through the war, hoping that one day the anniversary they mark will be the last. Carla Shankarek, CTV News, Saskatoon.
After a brief pause on flights to Puerto Vallarta, Canadian Airlines are resuming their routes to the Mexican vacation hotspot. This afternoon, a flight took off from Regina. Jacob Carr spoke to a few of the passengers heading to a place where cartels caused chaos just a few days ago.
Everybody we've talked to down there, though, says it's one day, it'll be better tomorrow, it'll be done. So we'll see.
Jackie Hall and Blaine Queering were just two of many sun seekers heading to Puerto Vallarta on a WestJet flight. Flights have fully resumed to the Mexican hotspot after all of Monday's trips were cancelled due to violence and civil unrest in the region. The couple says what they have seen and heard online from Puerto Vallarta puts them at ease about traveling there.
I was watching some videos last night. There's guys walking around taking videos yesterday morning, and everything was calm and cool and collected. So we're going to give it a shot. The Regina Airport Authority is also happy that things have gone back to normal after the brief delay, with Mexico being a popular destination for YQR travelers during the winter months.
When it comes to sun destinations, Cancun is the #1 in the winter in terms of passenger volume, but is followed very closely by Puerto Vallarta, and this is certainly impactful for many vacationers. Just happy for southern Saskatchewan they can get back on that warm holiday.
Regarding travelers that had to extend their stay in Mexico, both major Canadian airlines offered statements to CTV News. WestJet saying their priority is reaccommodating guests who were scheduled to return on Sunday and Monday, and that additional flights have been added to accommodate these customers. Air Canada mentioning they are operating 3 return flights from Puerto Vallarta today, and for 2 of those flights, the airline is operating using larger aircraft to bring back customers whose flights had been cancelled, saying they will continue to use their bigger planes until all affected customers have had a chance to travel. As for today's passengers, including Hall and Queering, the focus is on trading snow for fun in the sun. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A Saskatoon man known for spying on women is set to be sentenced for breaching his release conditions. 37-year-old Kyle Hamlick has been convicted of a total of 70 offenses related to secretly watching and recording women dating back to 2017. In the fall, he pleaded guilty to 23 of those offenses and was sentenced again to just under 3 years. With time served, he was released from jail early on Valentine's Day with conditions and placed on probation. Hours later, he was arrested in downtown Saskatoon, accused of having a cell phone with a camera, which violated his conditions. He's set to face a new sentence for the breach, which carries a maximum of 4 years in prison. Lawyers will argue sentencing next month. Until then, he remains in custody at the Saskatoon Correctional Centre. A Saskatoon business is accused of being the first to illegally sell bear spray since the city amended one of its bylaws. The name of the business facing the bylaw charges has not been made public, but the city says it is located in the 500 block of 20th Street West. The charges follow an investigation by Saskatoon police and city officials. Last July, City Council changed the business license bylaw to require businesses selling bear spray to ensure a purchaser be at least 18 years old and provide 2 pieces of government-issued ID. Under the bylaw, the business must also keep records of the buyer and make the information available to the city, as well as keep the bear spray for sale out of customer view. The changes followed a dramatic rise in the number of bear spray attacks on people in Saskatoon. A Meadow Lake man is facing child exploitation charges. It follows a search of a home in the community in November. Police seized electronic devices. Following their investigation, the Internet Child Exploitation Unit charged 34-year-old William Caleb Wade with 2 counts of possession of child sexual abuse and exploitation material. He remains in custody and is scheduled to be back in court next week. A 22-year-old man is facing a string of charges, including impaired driving, after RCMP stopped a vehicle clocked at 176 kilometers an hour. RCMP say on Saturday morning, officers from the Battlefords detachment witnessed a vehicle speeding down Highway 29. The driver did not pull over and instead turned down a rural road at dangerous speeds despite the winter road conditions. Officers used stop sticks and were able to eventually slow the vehicle. All 3 people in the vehicle ran once it stopped. 2 were released without charges. The third, Jacob Lowen from Saltcoats, was arrested and charged. RCMP are looking for an inmate who escaped custody in northern Saskatchewan. This is who police are looking for, 36-year-old Thomas Hunt. He was last seen yesterday afternoon at the Besnard Lake Correctional Camp south of Pine House. Hunt is known to travel to the La Ronge and Prince Albert areas. Anyone who knows where Thomas Hunt is should not approach him and instead contact police. A Saskatchewan man who pleaded guilty in the death of his wife just before he was to face a second trial is headed behind bars. Mick Favel has more from today's sentencing hearing.
1 month after relenting a guilty plea to second-degree murder, Jason McKay has been sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 17 years for the 2017 death of his wife, Jenny McKay.
There was a trial of this matter several years ago, and this guilty plea this time around was entered on the eve of what was supposed to be a second trial. This sentencing judge imposed the same parole ineligibility that the first judge did, and we're grateful for that, and we think it's an appropriate sentence.
In the early morning of September 6th, 2017, Jason McKay stabbed Jenny McKay 24 times. According to an agreed statement of facts, some wounds were made post-mortem. Jason McKay has been behind bars since the murder, initially receiving a second-degree murder conviction in 2020 with no chance of parole for 17 years. A successful appeal led to a second trial, but McKay re-entered a guilty plea just before it was set to begin. During sentencing submissions earlier this month, victim impact statements were read from Jenny's family, detailing the grief going through the court process again. After McKay's guilty plea, Jenny's father said he was glad there would not be another trial.
In this case, sadly for the family of Jenny, it has taken a lot of years to conclude, more than is typical, but we're certainly grateful that it's finally concluded today.
McKay appeared in a gray jumpsuit and was quiet when the sentence was handed down. He will be eligible for parole in the year 2043. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Jeff, after yesterday's blast of snow, it appeared that it was a clear day today here.
Yeah, a sunny day today, a bit of a wind, but it was still a pretty pleasant day to be out. Now, there's still a chance of some snow, and I mean a slight chance for the Saskatoon area, but points north may be dealing with more snow as we make our way into the overnight period. We don't anticipate a lot if it does show up. We'll have a different story, though, as we make our way into tomorrow. It looks as though places like Prince Albert and maybe north of there will be dealing with more substantive snow, or at least some flurries. But we'll talk about that later on. I just want to keep our eye on the fact that a big high pressure area was over top of us today, and so that's one of the reasons why it was so sunny. But that is moving off, and in its place, a couple of rounds of active weather, and we'll talk about how active it's going to be in a little bit.
A Saskatchewan cannabis retailer is taking possession of a downtown Prince Albert location, hoping the city will amend a bylaw to allow a fourth store. Jasmine Pelche has those details.
Into the Weeds co-owner Megan Paladwar-Valeris addressed City Council Monday evening, requesting the city re-examine its 3-store cap on cannabis retailers.
Prince Albert, whether intentionally or unintentionally, has protected this retail cannabis monopoly that's been created, and I hope to see a positive change. We're a reputable business. We contribute to taxes, jobs.
The Saskatchewan company is looking to expand by adding a location on Central Avenue in Prince Albert. The business had approached council in November, asking for an increase to the cap, but council said it would not be able to re-examine the bylaw by the date Into the Weeds suggested, which was initially December 15th. At Monday's meeting, council voiced support for re-examining the restrictions, but stressed the city would have to proceed carefully.
Maybe it is time, but the public they have a voice on this topic as well, right? So it's something that's going to create some discussion.
Council moved to re-examine the store limit on March 23rd, giving administration enough time to prepare a report on the matter.
Revisit the zoning bylaw. Listen to the implications, make a really good, solid decision, listen and follow up the process.
Into the Weeds says it wants to set up shop at 1125 Central Avenue. The business says it will move ahead with purchasing the location in hopes the 3-store limit is changed.
I'm excited with moving forward in any capacity, and I guess we will assume the business risk and hope for the best.
The business says it will take possession March 1st. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
As tech companies expand into our province, local communities are forced to weigh concerns from residents with the goal of having what could be the future of technology. It comes as the RM of Edenwald in southern Saskatchewan grapples with proposed bylaw amendments to allow data centers in its boundaries. Donovan Mace explains.
Ratepayers in the RM of Edenwald are speaking out against the possibility of AI data centers being built near their community.
This might be the time because they just didn't know.
Delegates speaking at an RM hearing raising concerns about water security, power usage, and pollution, while industry stakeholders and developers look for a balance.
What I think is a fair, reasonable text amendment.
Edenwald is considering amendments to its zoning bylaws, which would allow data centers in its boundaries as discretionary use in industrial zones. That means any future project would require final council approval before anything could be built.
It's just too soon.
Discussions come after a separate application by Bell Canada, the parent company of CTV News, to build a large data center campus in the RM of Sherwood. Jewel Wendler is one of more than 6,600 people who have signed a petition against it.
We don't know enough about AI to even welcome this into our community yet. I just don't think there's a place for them. I think that, if anything, AI is hindering our overall development as a society.
In response to CTV News, Bell Canada says as it works to deliver sovereign AI infrastructure, it regularly engages with municipalities and other stakeholders through established planning and regulatory processes. Edenwald Reeve, Al Trainer, says councillors across the province are now being faced with a tough decision with several unknowns.
It can be difficult. Some businesses, fit right in. Water is a big thing in our RM. Like say we're in a semi-arid area, and there's lots of development that draws on the aquifers that we have.
Now, Edenwald Council has tabled a vote on its proposed bylaw changes to its next council meeting scheduled for March 9th. Donovan May, CTV News, Emerald Park.
Still to come, why a Montreal businessman accused in his daughter's death wants key evidence thrown out. Also, a tech giant on the hot seat for not flagging concerns about the Tumbler Ridge shooter before the killings. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Officials with U.S. tech giant OpenAI have been summoned to Ottawa to answer why they didn't flag concerns to police about the Tumbler Ridge shooter until after the killing spree. Judy Trin on what questions the cabinet ministers will be asking.
7 months before the killing spree in Tumbler Ridge, ChatGPT identified an account linked to shooter Jesse Van Rutselaar for abuse and enforcement, but it did not notify police until after the rampage.
It looks like OpenAI had the opportunity to prevent this tragedy, to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Parent company OpenAI says it followed internal protocols, but the case did not meet its threshold to alert police because OpenAI did not identify credible or imminent planning.
I'm hoping that the OpenAI safety officials, when they come to Ottawa, tell us more details about their safety protocols, their escalation thresholds, and how they keep Canadians safe.
Van Rutselaar killed 8 people. 6 of the victims were children. After the shooting, OpenAI proactively reached out to the RCMP to provide additional information.
It's important that we give them the time and the space to be able to do a thorough investigation on all aspects of what's happened.
But for AI experts, the killer's use of ChatGPT reinforces the need for strong legislation to rein in the technology.
They are barreling forward with the deployment of new tools and features and technologies without properly considering the broader safety implications of their products. And until we force them to do so, that will continue to be the trend.
The federal government is working on an online harms bill, but still deciding what content should go into the legislation. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Montreal businessman accused of killing his 9-year-old daughter in New York wants key pieces of evidence in the case thrown out. Last summer, he reported she was kidnapped as they were returning from a road trip to New York, triggering an Amber Alert. The girl's body was found the next morning, and he was charged with second-degree murder and concealment of a corpse. Jean-Pierre Beauchemin has been going through the court documents.
This screenshot of a New York State Police trooper body cam video shows the accused Luciano Fratolin just 7 minutes after he called 911 last July. Fratolin told troopers 2 men in a white van grabbed his daughter Melina at a rest stop on I-87 and took off. This triggered an Amber Alert. But an investigator wrote in an affidavit that Fratolin omitted critical information, including police alleged that he had driven off the interstate near the spot where his daughter's body was found 2 hours before the 911 call. That evidence has not been tested in court, and Fratolin has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Mr. Fratolin, as I said.
Fratolin's public defender wants evidence found on his cell phone tossed out, as well as statements he made to police during a 2-hour car ride. Court documents include a text exchange between Fratolin and his ex-wife. This within the hours investigators say Melina was killed. At 8:52 p.m., Fratolin texted his ex-wife, "I'm on my way." An investigator noting he didn't use the word we. She wrote back, "I'd like to speak to Melina." He replied, "She's sleeping." The indictment alleges Fratolin killed Melina between 7:35 and 9:05. In court documents, Fratolin argues he was not informed he had the right to refuse to sign consent forms authorizing a police search of his cell phone. "I often have difficulty thinking clearly in stressful situations ever since 2019, when I was struck in the head with a rock in Ethiopia and was in a coma for 5 nights," he wrote in a statement. He also says he was tricked into signing the forms by the police, who were pretending to search for my daughter's kidnappers, while all the while they really were investigating me as the prime suspect in her disappearance. Melina's mother also gave a 3-page handwritten witness statement to Montreal police, detailing disagreements about Fratolin's plans to travel abroad with their daughter. The judge has already turned down a motion to have the charges tossed out. There's a hearing scheduled in a New York State court on Wednesday. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
As people around the world and here at home mark 4 years of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Canada is adding additional sanctions on Russia along with more aid for Ukraine.
Canada stands with Ukraine. The Coalition of the Willing stands with Ukraine. We're in it for the long haul. Russia is failing.
Canada says it will strengthen its military training mission with $2 billion for the program. It will also be imposing sanctions on 21 people and 53 entities, as well as 100 vessels from Russia's shadow fleet. U.S. President Donald Trump's new global tariffs have come into effect, but in a surprising move, the rate is 10%, not 15%, as Trump threatened over the weekend. After the Supreme Court blocked Trump's tariffs under the Emergency Act, Trump said he would slap on a 10% global rate on Friday. Then he said that rate would increase to 15% on Saturday. But according to official documents, the tariffs have been set at the lower rate with no directive to increase them. Well, Cuba is no longer a preferred travel destination for Canadians. The Caribbean island is suffering through food, gas, and power shortages. Ottawa is talking about sending aid to the beleaguered nation, but wants to balance upsetting the Americans. Heather Wright takes a closer look at the situation and what the priorities are.
Cuba is running on fumes, with some predicting the island nation could run out of oil in as little as 30 days.
We go through sometimes 21 hours without electricity.
Bisma Khan is a Canadian who runs a nonprofit that brings medical supplies to Cuba. She says fuel is scarce and food prices have gone up since the oil blockade began in January.
There's definitely challenges with transport. The medical system, like the hospitals, the clinics, the old age homes, they need a lot of supplies.
Canada plans to send supplies to Cuba, though it's not clear what that aid might look like. Global Affairs Minister Anita Anand said today an announcement will be made in the coming days.
Cuba has been, at the brink, close to the brink of collapse for many, many years.
Mark Manger is a global affairs professor at the University of Toronto and says the humanitarian situation was dire long before the U.S. oil blockade.
The horrible situation is fully to blame on the Cuban regime, but that doesn't mean that sanctions are an effective policy to topple it.
In sending aid to Cuba, Canada faces a balancing act in helping the Cuban people without further inflaming tensions with the United States.
This is a Canadian government that came to power on the basis of distancing itself from an administration of the United States that is very coercive. And this is a clear test case for the Canadian government to demonstrate how far it's willing to go.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he would impose tariffs on any country that sends oil to Cuba. And while a White House official speaking on background would not say whether Canada would face any reprisals for sending aid, they did confirm the embargo remains in place with the goal of, quote, holding the Cuban regime accountable. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, Jeff, I think today was a transition day, but there's a few of those in the works this week.
Yeah, there's going to be a few. Some transitioning to nice things, some transitioning to not nice things. If by not nice we mean kind of cold, and we've got some kind of cold in the forecast. We'll talk about that later on. Let's bring up our numbers right now, starting off with our current temperatures. It's minus 14 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, minus 12 in the Battlefords. And as you can see, not particularly windy in all three locations, so a relatively pleasant evening. And even tomorrow will be pretty nice. The next day even warmer, but we'll talk about that in the larger forecast. Minus 13 for a daytime high in Saskatoon, so still 7 degrees below seasonal. The record warm temperature on this date from 1905, that was 4 degrees. The record cold temperature on this date, minus 41 from 1919, so a couple of old records there that still stand. 8:04 is when the sun came up, and it's going to go down at 6:37.
Coming up, the first act set to perform at the Sask Jazz Fest announced. Also, a look at a group known as the Buffalo Boys.
All right, welcome back. Taking a look through the live lens of Skycam. A beautiful, oh, hey. Is that the sun on the horizon? I do believe it is. Yeah, we've had ourselves a pretty pleasant day. Temperatures, yes, below seasonal, but the sun was out. It wasn't much of a wind, so it was pretty nice to be outside if you had a chance to be out and about. But let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot here. And there's a big old high pressure area here, and that is impacting our area in terms of, keeping the clouds away and letting the sun shine through. But then another series, a pair of low pressure systems are going to slide on through, and as they do, they will bring some areas or some snow, but it looks as though most of that snow is going to be in northern areas, basically Prince Albert and northward, as we make our way into the next 24 hours or 48 hours. So it's not a massive amount of snow, but still maybe some shoveling in the Prince Albert area. So let's just recap: minus 14 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert. Right now it is minus 12 in the Battlefords. Our hot spot today, that was Val Marie at 2 degrees. Key Lake was the cold spot at minus 37. Currently, it is minus 11 degrees in Lloydminster and Moose Jaw, minus 6 in Swift Current, minus 14 in Regina, minus 13 in Estevan, and minus 17 in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province, temperatures range from minus 6 degrees in Kindersley down to minus 17 in a couple of locations. That's Melfort and Wynyard, minus 14 in Waskesiu, minus 16 in Meadow Lake. It's also minus 16 in Hudson Bay. Up north, into the minus 20s in Stony Rapids, Collins Bay, and Key Lake, but just in many respects. Minus 18 in Buffalo Narrows, La Ronge, and South End, and 1 degree colder in Sandy Bay Island Falls. Down south, still some locations on the plus side of the thermometer, at least on this part of our map. East End and Maple Creek are at 1 degree. It's minus 4 in Leader, minus 5 in Coronach, but it cools off into the minus double digits in many other locations. Look at that. It's minus 16 in Broadview, minus 17 in Melville and Indian Head, minus 13 in Carlisle. Now on to the futurecast. So our computer modeling indicating that, yes, there are a couple of impulses sliding through Saskatchewan as we make our way into the next 24 hours. And then, yeah, we could see, as I say, a little bit of shoveling, but we don't expect a lot. And that's just how things are shaping up. So let's take a look at up north. Yeah, Buffalo Narrows might be one of those places to get a little bit of snow. Minus 8 for a high in Buffalo Narrows. Colder than that, though, in Key Lake, Stony Rapids, and La Ronge. On the plus side, in many parts of west central Saskatchewan, 1 in Meadow Lake, 2 in Kindersley and Rosetown. Spiritwood on the freezing mark with a possibility of some flurries. Cloudy or mainly cloudy skies in the southwest. 3 degrees for Leader and Swift Current, 1 in Outlook, 7 in Maple Creek, and 3 degrees as well in Moose Jaw. But it's -7 in Yorkton with a chance of flurries, and -1 in both Regina and Estevan. -1 as well in Watrous, and a chance of flurries in Melfort, Humboldt, and Hudson Bay. -5 for Melfort, -3 for Humboldt, -9 in Hudson Bay. For the Battlefords, an overnight temperature of -17, but that's actually the midnight temperature, and then temperatures are going to be rising throughout the overnight period. Tomorrow's high, 1 on the plus side, a bit breezy with wind gusts up around 40 kilometers an hour, 3 on Thursday, but backing off significantly on Friday and especially on Saturday, trying to recover on Sunday. Monday, -4, but sliding to -9 on Tuesday. Prince Albert, -20 degrees with some light snow tonight, maybe 2 to 4 centimeters tomorrow when all is said and done. 0 on Thursday, -14 on Friday, a cold -21 on Saturday, 10 degrees warmer but still below seasonal on Sunday, and -7 to start the work week. And Saskatoon, it's slight chance, 60% chance of flurry seems a bit high, but we'll go with what the computer is telling us. -18 degrees, winds out of the south at 15. 0 degrees with cloudy skies tomorrow with a wind out of the southwest. And then as we take a look at Thursday, 2 degrees, -12 on Friday, -19 on Saturday, 10 degrees warmer at -9 on Sunday, and starting off your work week at -4, but backsliding a bit on Tuesday. Robert Carradine, best known for his roles in Revenge of the Nerds and its sequel and its many sequels, The Cowboys and the Long Riders, has died. In a statement to Deadline, his family says he struggled with bipolar disorder, and they hope his story can eliminate the stigma around mental illness. Hilary Duff, who played Carradine's daughter in the Lizzie McGuire TV series and movie, released a statement saying she was grateful for the warmth he showed her on the set. Robert Carradine was 71.
There's been a lot written and a lot said, but never from my side of the story.
Long-lost footage of the King is heading to the big screen. It's called Epic. Elvis Presley in concert. Director Baz Luhrmann says he got the idea for the film after finding raw, never-before-seen footage from Elvis on tour and his Las Vegas residency in the 70s while doing research for his 2022 film, Elvis. It's billed as more than a concert film, offering insights from the King himself in his prime of his career. Epic Elvis Presley in concert is in theaters now. I saw this at TIFF in September, and the footage is amazing. Tom Hanks is set to take on a new role. He'll eventually be on set. He's been cast to play Abraham Lincoln in an adaptation of George Saunders' best-selling novel, Lincoln in the Bardo. He'll also produce the film. It will purportedly combine stop-motion animation and live action. No release date has been set. That'll be an interesting movie to put together.
I think so, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Telemiracle coming up very, very soon, and an annual part of it is returning.
It's a USask, a University of Saskatchewan classic, and it's been around for quite a long time. It's that time of year again. Here we are at the Ag Building on the University of Saskatchewan campus, and we are getting ready for the annual bed push put on by the Agricultural Students Association. Laurel is with me. Colin's here too. Not sure why he's here, but we'll find out. And of course, Telemiracle Teddy. Yes, it's all in support of Telemiracle. So Laurel, for those people who don't know about this long tradition, first of all, how long is this tradition?
It's been going on for 42 years. We've had it since 1982.
All right, so this is the bed push in support of Telemiracle. How does it work?
So the student body of the College Agriculture and Bioresources here at USask, what we do is we push a bed on Highway 11 all the way from Regina to Saskatoon and to raise money and awareness for Telemiracle.
And how do people donate money?
Well, we have our LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also our website, which is www.ufsagros.ca, which all have our donation link.
And when do you start the pushing?
Our start of our push is in Regina this Thursday at 8 a.m., and then it's going to go to this Saturday at 4:30 in Saskatoon.
All right. Well, that's a lot of hard work, and I'm just kind of curious. There's a bit of a mess over here. What's going on?
This is one of our many fundraisers we have, and this is where students and faculty can pay $5 to pie any student that is willing in the face with some whipped cream, or you pay $20 to pie one of the willing profs for it.
Hey, are you a willing prof?
Yes, I'm here to take a pie in the face for Telemiracle.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Colin. And thank you to the students, as always, doing a great job here at the University of Saskatchewan College of Agriculture and
Bioresources.
I never knew about that last part. Well, there's been a change of plans.
Oh, you didn't get it on me?
No, most of that fell off.
We can't do a redo.
Sure we could. We could just send you back tomorrow, no?
Exactly. You know what? I think they're already on the road.
Oh, sure.
Too bad. Oh, darn.
Right. Well, we'll make it up some other way, I'm sure. Time for Pick of the Day. What do you have?
Well, we have a triple hit, and some of them have to do with the cold. But this is our sundog picture of the day, because we've got a whole week of these, yes. Because a lot of people capture these sundogs on the weekend. This one is from Louise, sundogs at sunset over Beaver Creek. So there's a lovely shot there. Our next one comes from us from Sue. Sue didn't provide a description or a title, but nonetheless, this is a great depiction of the cold that we went through last week. So thank you for that image, Sue. And finally, from Vincent, Vincent titled this image, Hungry Bunny. I believe that's a cotoneaster getting chewed on. I think so. I think that's a cotoneaster, but whatever it is, that bunny or hare is getting a bit of a snack. So there you go. If you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put Pick of the Day in the subject line, and please shoot it on the horizontal, not the vertical, if you're using a camera phone.
Still to come on CTV News, moving to the beat of their own music, how a Saskatchewan group is celebrating their talents and their culture and sharing it with others.
Greetings, everyone. Music and song are one of the most popular forms of storytelling. Filled with lyrics, melody, and tone, musicians and composers are able to express their thoughts and what they are feeling. A special event was recently held for the Buffalo Boys Drum Group, as they were able to share the music that they create and what it means to them. The Buffalo Boys Drum Group are sharing their story on stage through songs crafted by its members. Being in front of an audience is nothing new for the group from Mother Teresa Middle School. For a decade, they have shared their songs and talents at school, on the Powwow Trail, and everywhere else in between.
We're very, very humbled and honored to be asked to come and do this. For us to showcase what we do at the school and in our drum circle is important to us because we believe there's a space for everybody in our drum group.
During a recent performance at the Mackenzie Art Gallery, members gave monologues, sharing more about themselves, the group, and how being together has been a life-changing experience.
I feel like it's important to show that our culture is able to come and sort of ground the kids in a way that they wouldn't have had they wouldn't have had the same opportunity.
The Drum Group is now a flagship program being offered at Mother Teresa Middle School. The program is open to all students, creating unique space for students to find a place of belonging, and there is an open door policy for past members looking to practice and work with the younger members.
It's been a while since I've danced or sang with the group, so I feel better being around them. Trying to keep it alive my best, you know, it's always important to share it with other people.
When the Buffalo Boys first started, they received strange looks and sometimes uneasy welcomes, with some wondering what exactly they were doing. Now, the reason for the drum and songs is more well known and welcomed at all kinds of events. Some of the founding members look back on those times and know how far they have come.
It's always fun to go out and just be ourselves on stage. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm sure that everyone in our drum group would say the same.
There are no plans of slowing down as the next Powwow Trail begins in just a few weeks. If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
When we come back, a look at how much Saskatchewan spent this Valentine's Day, and later the first ticketed performers for the Sask Jazz Fest are announced.
Welcome back. We've got ourselves a rural forecast to check out, and let's start right now. 1 degree in Meadow Lake, 1 degree for Outlook tomorrow, 2 degrees in Lloydminster and Kindersley. Spiritwood, one of those places that might get a little bit of flurry activity. It's not really widespread. Melfort might get a little bit as well, a little cooler in Melfort. Hudson Bay, some flurries, -9 degrees tomorrow. Wynyard flurries, -3. We don't expect long-lasting storm situation with any of these locations. And then we make our way into southern Saskatchewan and basically points south of the Yellowhead and in and around the Trans-Canada. And as you can see, really quite warm in much of the southern part of the province. It does get into the minus side of the thermometer in a few locations. Pilot Butte at -1, -4 in Carlisle, -3 in Broadview, -8 in Kenora with some flurries. But look at that. Maple Creek at 7 degrees, 4 in East End. Some pretty nice temperatures there. Let's check in on Cudworth. Cudworth, at one of those locations that might see a little bit of flurry activity, not a lot in the way of accumulation. -2 for a high, and winds out of the southwest at 20. And Cudworth is one of those locations where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
A Saskatoon company has pleaded guilty to violating occupational health and safety regulations. Air Liquide Canada Inc. was facing 2 violations following an incident in June of 2023 where a worker was seriously injured after being hit by a forklift at a job site near Saskatoon. It pleaded guilty to one of the violations and was fined a total of $100,000, which included a victim surcharge. Not surprisingly, people in Saskatchewan opened their wallets this Valentine's Day. According to Moneris, business at Saskatchewan floor shops was up by 365% from the week before Valentine's Day. That compares to 445% nationally. Spending at restaurants was also up 43% week over week in our province, while the number of transactions went up 27%. People also spent 37% more at grocery stores, suggesting some celebrated at home. Canada's 5 big banks are reporting this week, and all eyes are on market reaction. Lindsay Biscaya has more.
First up, the Bank of Nova Scotia, which topped estimates on better than expected results. Scotiabank saw earnings growth across all divisions, including domestic banking, wealth management, capital markets, and international divisions. The Toronto-based company has been slashing expenses to improve operations and says earnings growth should accelerate in 2026. And here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar was down 2 cents to end the day. West Texas Intermediate dropped to 66.26. Western Canadian Select was up 11 cents to end the day, and the TSX closed on a new high at 33,970. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Coming up, the notable names headed to Saskatoon. Then the icy art on display in Alberta.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV. Well, Sask Jazz Fest has announced its first ticketed artist to play at this year's festival. Modest Mouse is set to hit the stage at Victoria Park on July 7th. The American indie rock band will perform at 9 p.m. that night. Philadelphia-based Snack Time is also scheduled to play that evening at 7 p.m. And Canadian singer-songwriter The Naysayers will perform with their 3-piece band starting at 5:30 that afternoon. Sask Jazz Fest runs July 5th to 11th. Additional headlining acts will be announced in the coming weeks. Tickets for today's announced artists are now on sale. Buy them online.
There you go. I know some people who already have.
Yes. Well, an American artist has created an incredible new piece in the middle of a lake in central Alberta.
In this case, I created a portrait with charcoal on the ice, a figure scarred from life and emerging like a baptism.
David Popa grew up in New York City, but now lives in Finland. He traveled to Abraham Lake to create what he calls an earth fresco. He says this is one of the only lakes where, during winter, you can see the methane bubbles frozen beneath the surface and the wind polishes the ice into pure glass. The piece is called New Beginning, and it was done in collaboration with Travel Alberta. Isn't that fascinating?
It is, but do we know how big that is?
I don't know the exact size dimensions.
Okay. Okay. I'm just curious because that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can see him creating, so it's that little speck.
Okay.
That's him.
Well, I didn't. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Now I know. Now I've got a perspective on that. Cool. Okay. That helps me. I don't understand how they can know what it looks like from way up high. You know.
It's the beauty of art, Jeff.
Is that what that is?
It is.
Exactly.
It's just how they do things.
Okay.
You know? It's kind of like your forecast, how you create things. I don't know how you do it, but
it's art. Sure, let's go with that.
It's something.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you anything because it's not my artistic temperament.
No, you're just not feeling it tonight.
Exactly.
I understand. Thanks for watching.